Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Trailtreve TV. Today, just a few notes. Currently, day 5 of the overland track in Tasmania. So far, we've covered around about 65 kilometres. I've got a lazy 18 kilometres to go. So once you've done the overland track, you'll understand what I mean by a lazy 18 k's to go to Lake St Clair. So what I want to cover off on today is just a few points that I've made during our track during the overland. You can jump on the Tasmanian National Parks and Wildlife website. They've got all the information there about how to get onto the overland track, and also what equipment you'll need as a checklist of essential gear that you have to come on the overland track. Anyway, just a few things from my perspective. Starting at the ground. You're going to need a decent pair of boots to come on the overland track. All right, trail shoes won't cut. You'll be uncomfortable in trail shoes to do the overland track. So when you come down, all right, make sure you've got at least a good pair of hiking boots that you've broken in over several months of conditioning, and that will get you out of trouble for this adventure. The ground you'll be covering will be a mixture of boardwalks, duck boards, muddy surfaces, natural ground, tree roots, lots of rocks, musk-like rocks, all right, and intermittent weather as well. So the better pair of shoes that you have will put you in good stead to get through the overland track. Next point, working up, is the pants. Make sure that you have a decent pair of long trousers that will dry easily. You can wear rain pants over shorts, etc. I've had no problem using the pants. They've gotten wet, they dry out quite easily, and they also provide protection from the leeches, which you will encounter during some phases of the overland track as well. Next, moving up is your clothing for the upper body. So base layer, so I've got a t-shirt underneath, right, followed by a light hoodie, all right, and today I've got a puffer jacket underneath a Gore-Tex rain jacket as well. So even though it's mid-February, temperatures here have been floating around about the 10 degrees, about 3 degrees overnight, and the highest we've had would be around about 17 degrees, but today 8 to 10 degrees during the daytime. Weather's been intermittent with patches of sunlight, but most of the time it's been drizzle because we've been up in the alpine setting. Okay, you're also going to need something to put on your head, so whether you wear a cap, a bush hat, or a buff or a beanie, all right, make sure you pack a good hat to get you through as well. The hat not only provides protection from the rain, but also will provide you some warmth for the head as well during the daytime. Yeah, got the buff in the pocket. As you know, multiple uses for the buff, whether it's a beanie, a neck wrap, a wrist wrap, or to blow your nose on. All right. Another, depending on your pack load, another thing that I've found quite handy is the use of the trekking poles. All right, they give you extra stability when you're walking along duck boards, being blown sideways up on the highland moors. So if you haven't got a pair of trekking poles, get a good set. And at the end of this video, you'll find a link on the best way to use the trekking poles with your hands, etc. All right. Okay, in your preparation for the overland, a couple of months out, you need to start doing conditioning training. So get yourself a decent pack and pack all the items that you're going to take with you, and get a feeling of what you're actually going to carry for the overland. My pack's currently running, or at the start of the track, running around about 28 kilos with what I consider was essential items. I could have maybe packed a bit lighter, but anyway, that's my cross that I've had to bear during the 65 kilometres so far. One thing with the overland track, there's only two ways out once you start: either by your own feet or via a helicopter. There's no roads. At Narcissus Hut here on day 5, you can take a shortcut and catch the ferry, 18 kilometres on Lake St Clair. We are going to trek out tomorrow for the final Lazy 18. Another thing you'll need for your pack will be a pack cover and also dry bags. Dry bags are essential to keep your clothing and your sleeping bag, etc. dry, but also to put your food into as well, because the wildlife here of a night time is quite persistent in trying to break into your tent and steal food. So best method is to, of a night time, put your pack and your food, etc. up in one of the huts. With the huts, you'll find that people will race ahead on the trail or on the track to secure a spot in the hut. So part of your conditioning training, make sure that you got yourself a good quality tent and you're actually comfortable and used to erecting the tent in all different forms of weather and actually sleeping in the tent. We've earned the hard-earned badge for this overland track, and we've used the tent every night, and we've become quite good at the routine of sleeping in a tent. Okay, food and water. So make sure you plan out how many days you're going to be on the track for, and also the food that you'll have that you'll need along the way. Some people we've observed have probably going to be falling short for food, but anyway, that's their prerogative. We've still got plenty of food left over, which is probably why the pack's quite heavy, but better to have more food than to run short at the end of the track. The water down here in Tasmania in the Cradle Mountain National Park is one of the freshest and best tasting water that you'll ever taste, I think. We run a filter bag just to make sure there's no bacteria, etc. in the water, because the water we're using comes out of the rainwater tanks at the huts. You can fill up from the fresh streams and creeks, etc., but once again you should filter or boil the water. The overland track here in Tasmania is certainly one of the most pristine wilderness that you'll find in the world. It's very rugged. It's rated as a medium track. There are side tracks that you can do as well up to the top of Cradle Mountain, and also Mount Ossa, and they're rated between medium and hard. So if you want to do those, be prepared for a bit of rock scrambling to get up to the top of those features. But certainly the trip to Tasmania to experience the wilderness down here is certainly well worth the effort. And with tomorrow we've got the last day, 18 kilometres around Lake St Clair, back to the Lake St Clair Visitor Centres, where we'll conclude our trip, and then we'll continue on with the rest of our Tasmania excursion. Well, that's all the thoughts that I have for the Tasmanian Overland track. So at the end of this clip, there'll be a list of all the gear that I've packed and whether I've used that gear or not. So feel free to have a look at that. Also, there'll be the stats there of how many kilometres and also the elevation, etc., that we achieved each day, and the distances covered over the entire track. So yeah, do yourself a favour, come down, visit the overland track at least once in your lifetime, and until next time.
Hey, thanks Trail Trev, day 5. Well, it's just a quick break in here. We've made it end of day 6. We're at the Lake St Clair Visitor Centre, so it wasn't quite a lazy 18. There was some great scenery through some of the forest, the initial part around the lake. So unique rainforest, so well worth planning for your trip on the overland. So 18.6 k's today, according to the GPS, about 300 and odd metres elevation, but we've made it in just a bit over 6 hours. So just to reiterate a few points when you're planning to come down to the overland. Number one is the right boots, right? Proper hiking boots. Trail runners, that they're not going to cut it on this track due to the mud, the rocks, and the water, and you'll have wet feet all the time. So good proper boots. 2, adequate clothing to suit all conditions. Today has been a beautiful day. I've even got the shorts on today, so it's been great weather on our final day of the overland track. Number 3 is adequate food to last you the duration that you plan to be on the overland track. Don't cut yourself short, but also don't take way too much food that's going to weigh you down on your pack. Number 4 is train for the overland track. Train using a tent. Sometimes sleeping in the hut is going to be noisy. There's going to be people getting up doing different routines during the night and during the morning, so you may be better off getting a good tent and practice using your tent. All right, and number 5, when you plan, just remember the first day is going to be the hardest day, your pack's going to be the heaviest, and you're going to have the biggest elevation on day 1. So apart from that, it's been a great trip. We've seen a lot of different things down here on the overland track. Well worth coming down, and as Trail Trev Day 5 was about to say, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll catch you all later. Okay, bye for now.